Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Chad M back here with BetHubb.com. Very excited for NFL Wildcard Weekend, which is on tap with 4 fantastic games here this weekend. Before I get into my top 3 picks on these games here, we do have to have a little bit of a review of what occurred during the regular season. Extremely disappointing way to wrap it up in Week 17, having gone 1-2 with my best bets, dropping the overall season record to 1 game below 500. I feel like, and I did punch myself in the face for that putrid, pathetic performance that I put up this year. It's the first time in 4 years of releasing my NFL top 3 picks, whether it's been through YouTube, whether it's BetHubb.com, my old website, InTheOT.com, or whatever other website I've been affiliated with that I've had a losing regular season record. I'm not happy about it. I want to make amends. I want to move forward and get things moving in the right direction. Mama didn't raise no quitter here. So we're going to take advantage of the final month of the year, which is the playoffs and, of course, the Super Bowl in the first Sunday of February, to get it right and put more shekels back in your guys' pocket so you can ensure that you're watching entertaining football from a profiting perspective. So let's get straight down to business here in Wild Card Week, where I've looked at the card, analyzed it inside and out, and really don't see a lot of value on the sides here. Rather, going to an old style way of handicapping that I've had some success with over the last number of years, and that is none other than Tommy Totals, as I'm absolutely in love with some of them that have been put up on the board. So let's start with my number 1 overall selection here in Wildcard Weekend, my gold pick. It is the over in the Baltimore-Indianapolis game. When I saw this total come out at 46, I was absolutely shocked, thinking that I'd see a 49 or 50 thrown up there, and that has a lot to do with the matchup here. Let's start with the fact that Baltimore's offense has been a lot better on their home field versus the road. The dichotomy is through the roof. At home this year, they've scored over 23 points in 7 of 8 games. Half of those games, they've scored over 30 points. In their last game, they started to show signs of getting back on track with scoring 33 points against the Giants 2 weeks ago. Whatever they did last week against Baltimore, throw it out the window. The backups were in. They didn't care. So I'm going to focus more on that game, because prior to that, they really did play pretty bad, and that was an indication that they are a little bit back on track. And when you look at Indianapolis here, the metrics for them just have not been very good all year. It's been a bit of smoke and mirrors. They've had a couple lucky wins against some poor teams in the league. And the defense is the number 1 thing that has me not liking this Colts team, where they rank 26 overall and 28th against the run. Ray Rice will have a heyday against them. It will allow Joe Flacco to move the football downfield. They'll be able to use the play-action fake, get some balls down to Torrey Smith, Anquan Bolden, the tight ends, Pitta, Dixon, you name it. It's going to be going on. Baltimore offensive style. I expect them to score at least 30, 33 points here in this football game without a shadow of a doubt. And from a point spread perspective, I was very close to pulling the trigger here with the Ravens laying 6.5, 7 points. And as a matter of fact, I probably will do so. It just won't be as large of a play. The reason why I'm a little bit tentative here is because the Colts offense has been pretty good the last couple of months here, and this team just never gives up. It doesn't matter how many points they are from behind, which is why I like the over a little bit more here. And they could be down 14, 20 points and score a couple touchdowns late here to try to make things interesting. The overall offense for Indianapolis has been nothing special from a statistical standpoint, ranked 16th overall this year. However, they are ranked 8th passing the ball. That has a lot to do with Andrew Luck's ability to move the ball downfield. Reggie Wayne's a stud. T.Y. Hilton's a big playmaker. Donnie Avery can catch some balls. I've got the tight ends, Colby Fleener, Dwayne Allen. Lots of playmakers. Vic Ballard will help keep them have a balanced running game. And when you look at Indianapolis, at the beginning of the year, their offense wasn't quite as prolific as it has become over the last number of weeks. Just looking at the numbers here, in 8 of their last 9 games, they've scored over 20 points. I think it's safe to say we can expect that here in Baltimore as well. I love this game to go way over the number. I think it goes over 50 points. I do have a lean to Baltimore. I look at the score here to be, 34-23. 33-24, 33-20, somewhere in that range. It's going to be a shootout, pound the over. Now we move on to my silver selection, my number 2 pick, and it's going to be a total where I expect the game to be a lot lower scoring than what the odds makers have projected. And that's the Showtime game that everybody's expecting to see, with the 2 stud rookie quarterbacks going up against one another, RG3 and Robert Wilson. This total at 46 is way, way, way too high. And the only reason it's set here, I do believe, has a lot to do with the fact that the general public looks at these 2 quarterbacks, they think of all the great plays they can make with their feet and go downfield, and they're just just so exciting to watch that naturally you just want to think over. But not the way I see it breaking down here. First of all, look at Seattle. This team is ranked 4th overall defensively. You think that Washington's going to have an easy time moving the ball on them? Not a chance. Especially with RG3 still being a little bit banged up. They're going to use him more precautiously, and he won't be able to have the full range of ability that he's shown in earlier parts of this year. And their offense is all predicated on the run with Alfred Morris. And you know what that means. Lots of running equals tick, tick, tick. The clock don't stop. Chew it up. That means it's a lot harder to put points on the board throughout the game if it's going to take 6-7 minutes to have a drive just to even score a touchdown, which will probably be prevented into field goals against a team like Seattle. And then, conversely, Seattle has been lighting it up offensively recently, no doubt about it. However, they're a completely different offensive team away from Quest Field, where they get that berserk fan base that goes crazy there and almost lifts them to another level. Every single game except once this year, they've scored over 20 points in regulation, and that was a neutral field game against the Buffalo Bills, who were absolutely putrid and didn't even care in the second half of that game. The other game they scored over 20 points was the overtime game against Chicago. So overall, this team just does not perform as well offensively on the road. I expect that to continue a little bit here. The strength of their offense is running the football. And when you look at Washington, even though they're ranked 26th in the league defensively, they still are a stout 5th against the run, which would make it very difficult for Seattle to use the bread and butter of their offense. Since coming out of the bye week, where they've won all 8 games now, they have only given up 20 points a game. So we've seen a much improved Washington defense. When I look at these two teams, I think there's a huge advantage from a practice standpoint and preparation due to the fact that the quarterbacks on their teams themselves play a similar style to who they're up against from an opposition standpoint, so they get a little bit more familiar with what to expect the defenses do that is in practice this week. I see this game being an absolute slugfest. I see it being 17-14, 20-17, at the absolute most 23-20. I don't see how this total's 46. It should be in the mid to low 30s. From a point spread perspective, I do lean to Washington here. Seattle, yes, they played better on the road recently. They're still only 3-5 on the road this year. They haven't had a winning road record in I don't know how long. This is a huge dichotomy between home and road. They were undefeated at home. Well, you know what? They're going to crazy FedEx Field here with the Skins, who haven't lost a game on their home field in a couple of months. So I'm not in love with it just because Seattle does have an overall advantage defensively. RG3 is a tad bit banged up. But if I had to, I would take the Skins here plus 3 points. So if you want to put me on the record for prediction, I'll take them to win this game straight up 20-17. Now we move on to my bronze selection. Another total once again. I know you guys are absolutely shocked. And I'm going to go under the total here in this Cincinnati-Houston football game, where it's sitting at 43.5. 43 is the number right now. And I love it to go under here because you have two defenses ranked in the top 8 in the NFL. When you look at the current form of these offenses versus their defense, they're playing much better defensively. In particular, Cincinnati on the road, their last 4 games, they've only given up 10, 13, 13, and 6 points. The pass rush has been relentless. They've had tremendous improvements in the second half of the year. They're going to put a lot of heat on Matt Schaub. He has not been as effective as he was earlier in this year. A lot of that has to do with the fact that their running back, Arian Foster, has not been as efficient as he can be. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Ben Tate hasn't been there, so they don't have that complementary 1-2 back system that allows them to feed off one another. Houston still is a team that tries to run the football first to set up Matt Schaub in the throwing offense. So with that being said, that means there's going to be a lot of clock that is chewed in this football game. And I just don't see Houston being able to turn it on offensively due to the fact that they just have really been struggling the last number of weeks. And a lot of their offensive outbursts early in the year have come against worse defenses than the Cincinnati team. But I do think that this Houston defense will come to play for sure on their home field. They're not going to get embarrassed there. If there's one way that it's going to be Houston losing this game and not being able to cover, it's going to be because they don't score enough, not because the defense doesn't come to play. Especially against a Cincinnati team that's ranked 23rd in overall offense. They really only have one weapon in the wide receiver, AJ Green. Andy Dalton has been erratic at times. He makes a lot of bad decisions against good defenses in the pressure. We saw what the Houston defense did to him last year on the same very field. They doesn't have any other options to throw the ball to. Jonathan Joseph, the former Bengal, knows that the offensive mindset of Marvin Lewis and what he's trying to do. They'll be able to shut him down to some degree, which will make it very difficult for them to move the chains. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis is a half-decent back, but not someone who's explosive enough to move the chains and really rely on him, shall we say, leading Cincinnati to an offensive explosion. Now, from a side perspective here, I found it very, very difficult to want to go ahead and lay the points with Houston, but at the same point in time, I could see them winning this game by around a touchdown, so I'm not interested at all. But if I had to put a number on it, I guess I would call the final score 23-17 for Houston here, as I do believe that everybody wants to write them off, but they're not going to be that pathetic here. I think they're going to step up to the occasion and win this game outright, if not cover the number. But I do believe that it does go under this total for sure, maybe 21-17, somewhere in that range. So just to summarize my picks here, I love the over in the Baltimore-Indianapolis game, love the under in the Washington-Seattle game, like the under in the Houston-Cincinnati game. I would like it a little bit more if it was at 44-45, but we'll still make it a play at 43.5, 43. And just to break down the Minnesota Green Bay game here, I do have a couple of leans to Green Bay and the over here. Now, a lot of this has to do with the fact that Aaron Rodgers is an absolute beast right now. He's in full force. You saw what he did last week, putting up 34 points against Minnesota. And if he didn't have those first couple of drives result in 3-and-out punts, it would have been scary how many points they would have had. Every other drive after that, they put up points on the board for the exception of that fumble. And I expect that to continue here against Minnesota's defense. Has been decent at times, but that's usually against worse offenses than an elite quarterback like this. I believe the amount of points that Green Bay will be able to score in this game will be north of 28. If there's one bet that actually would intrigue me in this game, it would be maybe finding a Green Bay team total over, because the game total is 46, which I could see getting there, but I'm not so confident that Minnesota will be able to put up the points they did last week against Green Bay. And when you look back at their first meeting at Lambeau, they did only score 17 points. I think that Don Capers realizes that they were not giving enough respect to I can't even think right now. Sorry, guys, I'm going 100 miles an hour. The quarterback, Christian Ponder. Yes, that's right. They were not giving him enough respect and allowed him to throw. They're going to shut up that game plan, put a little bit more pressure on him. Clay Matthews is going to lose his mind, get some sacks. Woodson's going to be back there in the secondary. I expect some turnovers from him, some poor decision-making. There's no way they're going to be able to convert their third downs at over 50% when their season average is only about 35%. AP ran like an absolute monster for nearly 200 yards on their home field, and they needed all of that just to even win that game. So I believe that they're going to limit AP to 120, 130 yards, and that's not going to be enough for them to be able to keep up with this Green Bay offense, especially if they fall behind early here. It was a different game last time because they were able to control the game due to the fact that they were leading or at least tied for the entire game. That was Minnesota. They were 7-1 on their home field in the regular season, and they were 2-6 on the road. Completely different, and the weather outside is not going to be as easy for them, because it's harder, I believe, for Peterson to get his legs going on that sort of icy environment, and Green Bay is more acquainted with that. They're outside here. I really do believe that Green Bay could pull away in this game here and win something like 33-20, 33-17. But, I'm not so confident in the over, because I could really see Green Bay's defense getting back on track to what they'd done the previous 8 out of 9 weeks, limiting their opponents to 20 points or less. And especially if the game is a blowout late, you could see one of those fourth quarters with a 2-touchdown lead where Green Bay just runs out the clock, punts it, Minnesota's 2.5 to score. So I would maybe stay away from that total, but still do have a lean there. So if you want to put me on the record with the score, give me 31-17 for the Green Bay Packers. And that wraps up my wild card predictions. I'm glad you guys could join me here at BetHubb.com. And I know you guys see that link below here on the video. You should click on it right now. Sign up for your own account. If you don't have one, that's cool. There's plenty of room for you guys to get on board. It's a fantastic website. We have a very social, interactive setting going on right there right now. You can challenge your friends to bets. You can trash talk them. It's got a very cool layout. I suggest you guys check it out. Start up your own account and make sure to cash in on the startup bonus we have going on right now. And make sure to tell them that Chad sent you from the video you saw posted up there, and they'll be able to hook you guys up. And you know what? If you guys disagree with my bets, which I'm sure a lot of people do, and heck, I went under 500 in the regular season, so why not disagree with me? You would have made a little bit of money. You can come and take my bets, as I'll be posting them, all of them up there. I look forward to coming back and breaking down many more football games for you and any of the other exciting sporting events that are going on in our world moving forward. Chad M, BetHubb.com. Enjoy your wild card weekend. See you guys back here for the divisional playoffs the following week.